Hello, everybody. Welcome back to How Come. This week's episode is late because yesterday was Jane's 70th birthday, and we threw her a surprise party, and it was very nice, but I also have no planning skills, so there was no way that it was going to happen and the episode on the same day. And I'm sorry, but I shared a lot of stories on my Instagram, and a lot of you were delighted to learn that Jane is English. Yeah, she's British. She's from Leeds. And yeah, she's super cute. She had a fun birthday. Surprise parties are weird though, because you have to like ignore the person all day and like make them think that like nothing's happening, and like make them sad. Like Ray sent her to like buy her own cake, and she was like, "What is this buy your own cake nonsense?" Like, and yeah, so she was pissed, but it was worth it because we had all of her little nieces over, socially distanced, of course, outside. And it was a blast, and Ray and Jane are fully vaxxed. So stoked on that. Stoked that we can like go home and then maybe come back here and not have to quarantine if we stay with them. But yeah, this week's episode is so good, and it's all about fitness and working out for the right reasons and how to do it and how to get back into it if you haven't been doing it. Jane took me for a walk the other day, just the two of us, around Lake Oswego. Beautiful lake if you guys are in Oregon. And we broke a little sweat and we had a fun time. And yeah, highly recommend walking with old ladies. What? I don't know. Anyway, this episode is so great. Both parts were recorded before the terrible tragedy that happened in Atlanta. 8 women were murdered by this gunman, who apparently the cops say was having a bad day. Don't discuss it in this episode, but we will in a future episode because the hate crimes against Asian Americans are very real in this country and they need to be shed a light on. And if you haven't heard about this shooting, look it up. We're going to talk about it this week on our Instagram, so be following How Come Podcast. And yeah, this episode, we're not going to be talking about that, but we are going to be talking about exercising and ways to feel happy, which are really important because when a tragedy has happened, the easiest thing to do is just like get up in a ball and cry. And if I'm honest, that's another reason why this episode was late, was because I was just fucking crying. But editing our congratulations that I had recorded the other day honestly brought such a smile to my face, and I think it will bring it to yours. And I think you'll just love this whole episode. But yeah, we are attaching links below for places that you can donate to help victims of hate crimes. And yeah, our congratulations is a little different this week. It's not a companion congratulations, although she is a companion through the fact that she's been on this podcast and she supports it and we love her. But yeah, you guys, Riley Lassin is back and she has a congratulations of her own to share with us. The last time she was on was Merry Vaginismus. You might remember she had just celebrated penetrative penis and vagina sex. And yeah, now she's back to celebrate a new cumgrats, and we're so excited. And then the second half of our episode, we are talking about working out with Melody Afkami and Nicole Pearce. You might recognize Melody Afkami's name from being Sarah Afkami's sister, but she is also the CEO and founder of a mobile fitness brand, Melody DanceFit. They offer a new style of fitness, blending positive psychology with intense cardio in a club atmosphere. Obsessed. Nicole Pearce is a certified personal trainer and fitness instructor. She trained in Boston for many years and now exclusively does so virtually via YouTube. And yeah, they are so great, and I love talking to them, and I love talking to Riley, and I think you guys will just love this episode so much. I want to thank Jan Leslie Gemstone Pipes for supporting this episode of How Come. Go to janleslie.com, click on Gemstone Pipes, and use code HOWCOME to get 25% off your Gemstone Pipes order. Thanks to Dipsea for supporting How Come. Dipsea is an audio app full of short, sexy stories and guided sessions designed to turn you on and help you get in touch with yourself. Get a 30-day free trial when you go to dipseastories.com/howcome.
How come? How come? How come I can't achieve? How come I can't achieve? I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm rolling up my sleeves. Oh baby, I believe these podcast can help, 'cause I can't do it by myself. I wanna jizz.
Hi, Riley.
You hear us?
Yes.
Okay, fab. I am so excited to have you back and finally ask you about this momentous congratulations, because the last time you were on the podcast, we had just congratulated you for having intercourse successfully.
Yes.
But you still had not had an orgasm. And this year, though it was a bad year for most, it was kind of exciting for a little Riley moment.
It's crazy how much has changed between intercourse and coming.
Right?
You know what I mean? Like life in general, now that I think about it, like I've grown as a human. I feel like my vagina has grown. Like we've all grown together. So no, it was definitely here. And that was definitely a surprise. I have to say it was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah. It like came out of nowhere. You like tweeted
It literally
you were
did.
Like, I came and I was like, what? I mean, yay, but like, what?
I mean, you commenting and like liking and all that, I felt like my aunt reaching out, being like, I heard what happened. Mazel, I'm proud of you.
No, I was like retweeting and I was like, we did this.
Seriously.
She only did because she's related to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what happened?
You know what it is? It was, I met this guy and he was like a family friend person back at home during quarantine. And we've known each other. We're family friends. And we started hanging out.
With your parents, right?
Right. I was quarantined with my parents. I went all the way back to, Jersey. I didn't expect anything when I went home. When I went home, I expected just to hang out with my parents every day and it'd be really boring. And it was, but then he and I got kind of close and we got closer and we expressed that we wanted to like hook up and hang out. And it was like, it became this like fun thing where like, it was like so fun. Like I never had that in New York. Like in New York, I was like working like comedy and I wasn't even seeing anybody. And now there's a pandemic and I'm like having a crush. Like I this was the like least expected thing ever.
A blessing.
It was a blessing in disguise because
nothing better than a crush and a pandu.
I had a whole crush, like a school crush.
Amazing. Like at home. Like
at
a high school crush, like go home, tell your parents crush. Yeah.
Right. I couldn't like my mom was like, I'm so glad that you have this guy to hang out with and like talk to because you would like get on my last nerve because like we would hang out. I would put on like, I would put on a bra for this guy. Like, so yeah, we got closer and all that. And he also lived in New York, like right outside New York. So when he came back here, I came back a little later and we both were back around this like fall time and we started, because we couldn't really do anything back home.
Yeah.
Like we tried.
Yeah.
We tried really hard to like, but I told him that I've never come
so
before.
when you were in Jersey, you guys didn't hook up at all?
Well, we hooked up in his mom's car.
Okay.
And that didn't work. That did not work. It was a terrible idea. And then my friend let us hook up in her bedroom, like towards the end, like in the summertime. So like things were better. Like I wasn't hanging out with anyone else but him. We were with our families. Like it felt safe. So
I'm only having you on because the vaccine's out there. We weren't even talking about people hooking up in the pandemic. We were pretending it wasn't happening.
No, because like I haven't hooked up since August.
Wow.
Cause like I wasn't about to do it. Like I was
You're like, I don't want to kill my family for you.
Right. I was like, I am not, but like him and he was with his family. I was with my family. We weren't, but yeah. So we knew we were being safe because after about a month and a half of talking, that's when we went on our first date and our date was literally just walking.
Cute.
With our masks and we were like 6 feet apart. So we really built it up. Like this was build up because we didn't kiss till maybe like our second, third month into talking.
This is Orthodox Judaism.
Honestly, it felt like courting. I was being courted.
Yeah.
I was being courted during a pandemic. And it was nice. And he's such a sweet dude. And like our families knew each other. So like he'd come over, my mom, we would hang out. And like it was just such a like fun thing.
Yeah.
There was no drama.
Yeah.
I felt like I was being courted. I didn't feel the need to like have, and you know what it is, like have to like do anything because I need a slow build up.
Right.
That's like my vagina needs some courting.
Yes.
And it got courted.
As
it got
we
courted.
know. We should mention the last time Riley was on the podcast, the reason that penetrative sex, of course, it's a congratulations for anyone, but Riley was dealing with vaginismus. Still, right? Is vaginismus an ongoing forever, like, thing?
It is. And we talked about it on that podcast, on the one 3 years ago with Molly, and we kind of alluded that you can kind of fix it. I put like bunny ears next to it. You really can't. You really have to keep working on it.
At the time, nobody was comfortable being like, I'm not, like, it's still an ongoing process.
Right. Like you want to say it's fixed.
You want to say you're fixed. Yeah. For other people's comfort almost.
Oh, 100%. Remy, you're like right on the point with that. It definitely, when I tell people I have this and they go, oh, but you're better now.
Yeah. And you're I've definitely worked on it to the point that like things are easier, but no, you still have to be very patient with me. And this is still a thing that exists. And the fact that you had somebody, like, did he know about vaginismus, or he already was being patient?
Exactly. And I felt like I could open up, and especially during a time of a pandemic, I feel like we were all very vulnerable, and I felt that I could open up to him. And he was a friend, and I was like, hey, I have this. And he's like, whoa. And then he said he looked it up. And I have to say, when a guy or a girl, anyone looks up your condition, it really goes the extra mile. Like it really shows that they care, because sure, I can explain to you everything, but the fact that you're actually looking into it, see what you can do, seeing the logistics of it, like that really, like that made me like go, okay, like my vagina the whole time was like
quivering.
It was so exciting. I was like, every day I just like was like, this is awesome. And
I didn't even know this was part of the story. I like was just happy about the orgasm, and now I'm like Twitter pated.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. It was such a lovely build up to it. That's why I think when I posted about coming, I was so excited because I was just so happy with it. I was just I was so happy with the whole thing, because he said to me, because I told him that I've never come before, and he was like, oh, I want to help with that. And it's like, that's so hot, being like, I want to help.
Really hot phrasing too, and not like, I'm going to make it happen for you. I want to help you.
I hate when they say like, I'm going to be the one. It's like, okay, well,
yeah,
it might not happen, my friend.
Challenge denied.
Right. I was like,
No, help you sounds much more like about Riley, not about the ego or the penis or whatever.
Right. And he'd be like, what do you like? What's this? And like, I'm a pleaser. So I'm like, no, it's okay.
Yes, she is.
Right. I was like, I'm not worried. Like,
let me suck your dick.
I know. I love a good blowjob, but that's just, that's my personal thing. I know.
Yes, but people who like to give pleasure deserve to receive. It's very wonderful.
It's very, and I didn't realize that until I came. I didn't realize that until I came. I was like, this is what I've been missing this whole time.
This is what I've been affording everyone else. Yeah.
I'm still a little annoyed with how what I need to do to come.
Sure.
Because he was like, get on top. And now the thing is, I don't like going on top, because I was always been uncomfortable with my body, especially it was in the daytime when this was happening. It was in the daytime.
Get on top.
He's like, get on top.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, no, ha ha ha. You kind of like, ha.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, ha ha. let me suck your dick. Ha ha.
Like, don't look at me.
Right.
Right down here.
I was like, let me hide
under the cover.
Right. I was like, can I put on a shirt? Like, I was like, oh no. And he's like, no, he's like, do it now. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I did it. And all of a sudden I'm like, hey, it's kind of fun up here.
Was he nice when he was saying, get up here? Was he like, you're so pretty? You're like, I don't know. Like, were there encouraging things?
Yes, he did in a way that I realized that he didn't care.
Nice.
He was like, try this.
Yeah.
I think he knew. He's
Uh-huh.
like, you should try this. And I was like, I don't want to. And he's like, I think you should. And I was like, ah. And then I think he kind of like, warmed me up because he would always kind of ask. He's like, you should try. And I was like, nope. But this time I was like, you know what? Okay, let's face my fear. Let's get on top. And I got on top and I was like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, like, I was like, this is kind of fun up here. I was like, is he looking? And all of a sudden I started getting in my head and he's like, get out of your head. Like he would kind of like, as soon as I was getting my head, right. Yeah. And he would kind of reel me back in, which was very nice.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a certain point where like, I don't know what shifted, what changed. And that's when it happened. And he was just so like, oh my God. He was like, I was laughing. He was laughing. He's like, did we do it? Did it happen?
Oh my God.
Like, oh my God. I was like, yes. And then I was like, I was in the corner like, oh my God, I was like, I'm exhausted. I'm so tired. I was like, no wonder, like, because guys are always so sleepy after. I was like, I need to take a nap. I was like, I need to take a long ass nap.
You're like, bye, I'm going to go hibernate. This has been like, what, 20, how old are you now? 20?
I'm 27.
27 pent up years have come.
Right, literally, I was
took
like
the longest nap after my first come too.
I passed out.
Yeah.
My roommates came home later that night, and I will never forget this. They went to the beach that day, but I lied to them because I was like so horny and I wanted to hook up with this guy that I was like, oh, I'm gonna like, I have some stuff to do, and they left, and he came over, and then later that night when they came back from the beach, I walked out. And they said, my hair was a mess. I walked out like limping. I was like, hey, God, like my eyes were like half shut. They were like, you look drunk. I was like, I came.
Yeah, I'm like drunk on cum.
I was like the happiest little person. And like literally anytime that we would hook up, he'd be like, get on top. And I'm like, no. Like I would get so excited because I knew what that would lead to.
Yeah. Cause there is a little bit of fear of like,
this
is going to be so good that I might not be able to handle it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I kind of have that still, but then like you push past it and then you have you had multiples since?
So I've had one other time with him, and then we kind of broke off seeing each other because we realized that we were better friends, and like he did his thing, I did my thing. It was a great mutual thing, and he's still a buddy. I then went on to hook up with this other guy, and this was the last guy I hooked up with before I locked that pussy down for quarantine. He was he is so skinny, and I was like, I know what I have to do to come.
I have to sit on you.
I was like, I don't know if I should do this. And then we were hooking up and it was great. And the first 2-3 times we hooked up, he came the whole time. And I was like, wait, I want to come. And I was like, I guess I have to do this. And then I did. I got and I came and I was like, whoa. Oh my God, it worked again. It was like, I didn't know if it would work with a different person. It was a different penis. Like if I got on top, would it do the same thing?
So all of these are happening. These are internal orgasms where the clit is being stimulated from the inside. Is it being stimulated from the outside, or are you an inside man?
See, that's it. I'm an inside.
Wow, you guys, it has taken so long to get to this fucking button. Holy shit. Like we literally had to like weed whack a forest of vaginismus. And then at the end is like this holy grail of an orgasm. Right? Like what the fuck?
The thing is, when I told my friends about it, they were like, oh, like, was he fingering? Like, what was he doing? And I was like, oh, we were having sex. They go, what? They're like, wait, his penis was in you? Like they all were, and I've never had that, Remy, where someone was jealous
of your
anything
sex
I've
life.
Done sexually.
Yeah.
Right. Because before I've always been so jealous, like of my friends talking about sex. I've always been like, I want that. And now all of a sudden they're like, And I want that for my friends. I was like, guys, no, it's fantastic. Like maybe you have to get on top or like do something on the side. Like maybe there's a different way. Cause like, and the thing is and this is where I struggle. And this is where I think the whole growth and where you have to keep keeping up with like your dilators. If you have vaginismus, like you have to keep up with it because I still get nervous with myself.
Right. Yeah.
And that was a problem when we talked last time with Molly on the podcast 3 years ago, that they, giving yourself a shot versus someone else giving you a shot.
Yeah.
I still think there's going to be pain when I know in the end there's not. And I think when I meet a new guy, I try to forget about that fear now that I've come, like, okay, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, Riley. It's not all pain. The first whatever minutes is going to be hard, but then you got to push past it. So that's why I think I came really well with this guy, because we kind of had that time for my vagina to get to know him. You know?
Yeah. And the second guy though too, like, let it go. Like it worked.
Yeah, and I think I think I let myself go with that.
Cool.
Yeah, I definitely think I don't know if it was me growing sexually where I didn't not care, but I was more open and more free to it rather than before when I would be so closed off. I was so open. I was so like, okay, you know what, Rye, this worked.
Yeah.
You hooked up with him multiple times now. He's come. You
should.
How about you try it? And it happened. And now, and I feel like it's going to get better and better.
Totally.
Hopefully when I can start hooking up with people again.
See, I want you to do it alone. I want to get you like some kind of dildo or sex toy or something that like you could ride on, maybe. Like that would be.
Yeah, it's weird because I still haven't found it. I haven't figured it out. I don't know if it's me nervous about finding something that will work. I don't know if it's in my head, but I haven't gone there yet.
Cool. And you might need some like pads because this would have to be in like a shower. But there's those like dildos that like suction to the wall or to the floor or whatever.
Oh no, I know those.
You know those?
Look, I have friends like I think guy friends who have that, and they like. You know what I mean? They put against the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I've never bought, but I would definitely try that. 100% try that.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. But yeah, I don't know. I love your story too because it's so like I feel like we've really been dismantling this thing of like. You need someone that like you're in love with to have orgasms or whatever. But then we've been bringing in stories where people do have like really wonderful moments with other people that have helped them. And it's like, yes, romance is in play, and then your brain starts to go, oh, are you still together? And like, it used to be like upsetting if you weren't. Like, it was like, oh, like they helped you out, but then like you didn't end up together. That's so sad. And it's like, no. It's nice. You didn't end up together, but you guys did this thing together. Like you grew as a person. He helped you do something. You can go out in the world and like grow more and maybe do it. Like, it's not sad when the love story doesn't work out. Like sometimes a love story is just like for those 4 months or however long it was.
Right. And we'll always remember those 4 months. Like the fact that we were together and during a pandemic and like we weren't dating, we weren't, whatever, but we kind of were each other's,
support system.
Yeah. We were each other's support. We leaned on each other.
Yeah.
Of course we had our families. Like I was thankful to be with my family. He was with his family, but we kind of got each other. We're around the same age. We kind of clicked.
Yeah.
We were able to talk about things we were about to talk about anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's what was so nice. And I think when we got back here to Jersey, to New York, we were able to explore more. And I think, it was also pretty mutual the way we kind of
felt,
because he kind of stopped, and then I was like, you know what, it's time. Like I was sad at first. I missed him because of course I was like, oh, we had such a great connection, but honestly, it was it was time. And I was like, that was a great way to kind of, and we still talk.
Yeah.
And we still, you know,
and it doesn't
but it's not
make like
yeah.
the relationship itself not a success anymore. Like and relationships in general, like we think it like when they're over, it's like, oh, well, that must have been a bad relationship. It's like, no. Like take it for what it was. Like it was really, really good at the time. Like not saying that I'm going to break up with Ben, but if I broke up with Ben or whatever, and I looked back on this year, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, what a waste of time anymore, which I might have done like back in the day with like a different idea of romance. I'd be like, no, we needed each other for that amount of time. And like, yeah. Like when marriages break up, like people just think it's such like a fucking shame. It's like, no, maybe it's time to move on. Like, was the marriage good? Like at least for a little, and then you made some nice kids or whatever it was, you know? I don't know.
It's a learning experience. It really is.
Yeah.
You learn a lot, I think, from any time. It could be, you know, friendships. I've broken up with friends. I know people that have broken up with friends, and people are like, oh, what a waste. No, there are things you got out of that friendship that you might not have gotten from another friendship. You might have gotten good things or bad things. And I think, you know, like you said, coming with like someone you love. I love this guy in different ways. It wasn't a romantic love where I want to spend the rest of my life with him. It was, you know, I cared about him. He cared about me. We supported each other. He wanted to understand my body. I wanted to understand his, and we were able to like get there. So it was honestly, like I would never, I'm very grateful for it.
Yeah.
And I came. So like,
yeah.
So like I win.
Yeah, you win. 100%. You win. I'm like very, very happy about it. But yeah, with friends too, it's like sometimes people come into your life for a reason or whatever, like that it's like, I don't know, twin flames, or they just help you on your track to like becoming you. And like, you don't have to necessarily leave each other in a bad way. You just leave each other. But like, it doesn't make it not a success. This is a success. You guys, he came just at the right time.
Seriously. Oh, that was a good one.
Thank you. Robin's like, that is literally the worst one I've ever heard.
It's up there on that list. You're right.
I love seeing Robin's face during all of
She hates me. It's like insane.
I hate you. I just hear this all the time. I just sit here and listen. What do you want me to do?
She grounds you.
She really does.
What am I supposed to do?
She's the best. She's the best person I've ever known. We're just giving Gen Z like way too much credit right now.
It's funny because I did a middle part because of them. I was like, I guess I should. It's funny because because I've been wearing wigs because of my PCOS has gotten so bad. And this guy that I was with, that made me come. I was wearing a wig one night with him, and I guess I didn't put it on correctly. And I've like made the jokes about this, but like I was blowing him and he literally took my wig off.
I know. It's so great. Wait,
and I was like,
I remember when you wrote that joke. It was literally in the beginning of the but like it was during a club show. It was
during it. Yeah. I was so embarrassed, and it's like my favorite thing to talk about because like as it was happening, I was like, I can't wait to say this on stage.
So great. Wait, and we kind of talked about PCOS in our episode with Dr. Brighton. I didn't know that hair loss was part of it. Is that part of it's so hair after loss, the medicine?
No. So like if you have high testosterone, like if you have one of the PCOS, because there's different types of PCOS. I have the one that's like hair loss, weight gain. You have facial hair, extra hair. Like
fun,
all that
Riley.
stuff. Yeah, no, it's like
all the things I was like,
that this is
the magazines tell you don't want to be.
Right. I was like, this is great. But I've been trying to control that. But I take medication for it. It's just like I got so annoyed with my hair loss, and I was like, you know what, F it. I have girlfriends who wear wigs all the time. Let me look into it, and I have the best time wearing them. Yeah,
so, and you look amazing in them.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we love your wigs. We love your hair. And we love a guy who can pull off a wig mid-blowjob, not lose a hard-on. And
right.
Yeah.
I was like, he's a keeper. He's still,
Yeah.
I'm going to keep going. We're not going to talk about that wig. We're just, no, that was quite a night.
That's another thing that like you always think, or not you always think about, but I used to think about with women who had wigs or they had hair that they didn't want somebody to touch during sex. I used to be like, oh, like that must be so annoying for the guy or whatever. Like always like in this vision of like the male gaze and how annoying it's going to be for him or whatever. And it's just so refreshing to hear these stories of people who are like, oh no, I won't touch your hair if you don't want, like that is not a problem for me. Or like, I'll pull your fucking wig off if it's okay for you.
Right.
You know, like this is nothing. It has nothing to do with how attractive to you I'm going to be.
Exactly. And I'm very impressed with guys too, who like, because, you know, they may not expect that I have a wig on if it looks a certain way. They may not expect that. So if they grab it, I might be like, oh, haha. And then they'll instantly like I'm grateful that the guys that I have been with since have been like, oh, yeah. And they'll kind of adjust. Yeah. And that's how I think it should be. Yeah. Yeah. You better adjust to me. Yeah. Like, don't pull it. Like this was expensive. Don't touch it, you know? So I'm grateful for that. But, you know, there are people who are not as considerate.
No, then you would have the side of the internet that would be like, you didn't disclose to me that you were wearing a wig. Like, no, those are not the people that you want to be having sex with anyway. So
yeah. Very true.
Congratulations on your choices of men and your accomplishments. Just so many congrats, so many mazzles. I'm so obsessed with you. I love you. I can't wait to see what is to come.
Me too, Remy. I missed you too. I feel like I miss
you too. I know.
I haven't seen you in months.
I haven't
seen you in months. But I'm glad, you know, this is amazing as always. And I'm very honored to be on it. So thank you.
I love you the most. Where can everybody find you online?
Online, it's at Riley Lassin at all the, you know, socials. I'm on the radio, which is fun.
She
92.3.
is.
I am.
She has a radio show.
What happened again? I'm on the radio, 92.3 in New York City. We're also syndicated in other cities as well. But the Kane and Corey show, which is
amazing.
Yeah, which is always fun. And I talk like this on it too. And they're always like, you're getting, you're getting dirty. You're getting too dirty. Yeah.
All right, Riley, before we go, I have to ask you, did you finish?
Yes.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Yay. I love having Riley back and I'm so happy for her. That was literally just like so much serotonin, which I needed. You know, I get down in the dumps so often and taking walks and smoking weed helps me get back in my body. That's not for everyone. Some people get really lethargic after smoking, but I love it. And we don't mention it in this, but I work out high sometimes. And like, if that's the way that you have to do it, then by all means. I usually smoke joints, but I haven't been able to roll my own joints in Ben's parents' house, obviously, because they'd be able to smell it. So we keep our pipes in the car, or we have pre-rolls or whatever. And my favorite pipes are my Jan Leslie pipes. If you guys haven't heard about these, if you don't know how to roll joints, and you want some beautiful pipes that also have like positive gemstone values, check these out. Jan Leslie gemstone pipes merge crystal healing with herbal healing. Each handcrafted piece is the embodiment of form meeting function, culminating in a beautiful luxury accessory to use or display. And before you're like, oh, luxury, scary, like with our discounts, oh my God, so affordable, so amazing, and gorgeous. And they work well. I don't even like pipes usually, but I'm obsessed with my Jan Leslie pipes. So I have teamed up with Jan Leslie gemstone pipes and jewelry, and they are offering 25% off your gemstone pipes order when you go to janleslie.com and click on gemstone pipes and use code HOWCOME to get 25% off on your gemstone pipes order. I love the pipes I received. I received 2 pipes, the rose quartz, which is the love stone. So cute, so smooth. And who doesn't love love? I love love. And it's pink and it's so cute. And then I also got the blue goldstone fortune stone, which I think looks more purpley, and it's super shiny and sparkly and just gorgeous. And like, even if you're not smoking it, it makes you happy to look at it and watch it just flicker in the sun. Yeah. And they both come with different colored, like 2 different colors, silver and gold. What are they called? Like little baskets for the flower? I don't know. But you can interchange them depending on what color you like. I put the gold with my blue goldstone, and I put the silver with the rose quartz, and I think it looks good that way. But you can mix and match. Yeah, and gemstone pipes are amazing because they are quality gems that all have different meanings. The blue goldstone is obviously if you want prosperity to come to you. The rose quartz is if you want love to come to you. And there's all different types. There's really, really, really cool pipes that she has on the site. So go check it out because if you go to janleslie.com and you click on gemstone pipes and you use code HOWCOME, you get 25% off your gemstone pipes order. Again, go to janleslie.com, click on gemstone pipes, and use code HOWCOME to get 25% off your gemstone pipes order today. And then take a picture of it and tag me in it, and I'll repost it because I love them. And everybody else who's gotten them loves them too. Speaking of love, speaking of relaxation, you know how sometimes when you're stressed, you don't want to do a substance and you don't necessarily know what else to do? Do you need to unwind after a long day of Zoom calls or party planning for your boyfriend's mother? Looking for some new self-care ideas? Or maybe you're just looking for a way to get out of a funky funk and start feeling like yourself again. You can reset and reconnect with yourself with Dipsea. Yes, Dipsea. Just because you're grown up doesn't mean you've outgrown bedtime stories, whether you want a story to turn you on or wind you down for better sleep. Also Dipsea. It helps you get in touch with yourself for some extra sweet dreams. Dipsea is an audio app full of short, sexy stories designed to turn you on or relax you. They release new stories every week, so there's always more to explore, no matter who you are, or who you want, or what you're into, or what turns you on. Dipsea also has wellness sessions to help you learn more about yourself, and bedtime stories and soundscapes to help you relax before you drift off. I love Dipsea. I've really been trying not to use my screens as much because I've been getting migraines and screens just, I don't know, seem to be doing that. And I get really stressed if I'm just like alone with my thoughts. And that's where Dipsea comes in. And I'll usually just put on like a soundscape or like a sexy story or like, I don't know, anything. Sometimes it's just nice to have like company, like even if you're in a house full of people and you're just done talking to all of them, like Dipsea, more stories, more people, guided meditations, like really anything your heart desires. So it's pretty great, and all of our listeners who have tried it out really like it. So if you are a listener of the show, which you aren't, you're hearing this, Dipsea is offering a 30-day free trial for our companions when you go to dipseastories.com/howcome. Yes, that is a 30-day free trial when you go to DIPSEA stories.com/howcome, dipseastories.com/howcome. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. And you're going to love this rest of this episode with Melody Afkami and Nicole Pearce and me. Woohoo. All right, you guys, enjoy. Welcome, Nicole Pearce.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Hi, thanks for being here. And Melody Afkami.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to have both of you here, and this is going to be so much fun. And I'm excited, but I'm also sad because this episode means I'm going to have to start working out. But it's good. It's accountability. That's why we do this podcast. This episode is How Fit, because you two are the fitness influencers that I follow and trust. And actually, I've known Nicole for like 10 years now, right?
Yeah, probably.
Something like that. And I feel like I've watched you start like fitness influencing to like now. Ben's mom bought me resistance bands for Christmas because I asked for them. Mother-in-laws do not do that unless your daughters or, girlfriends of your son asked you, but I did ask her and I was like, I want resistance bands. And then I looked on YouTube for resistance bands workouts and yours was the first video that came up. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so proud.
That's awesome.
Always the quick, simple ones that you put together that do really well on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. It's unreal. Tell me, both of you, what is the type of exercise that you do predominantly?
So I do what's called dance fitness.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a very basic version of a dance class. You don't learn a routine or anything. You're just kind of monkey see, monkey do. You follow along the best you can. And that's the main workout that I teach.
Fun. Have you always danced?
Yeah, I grew up dancing. I stopped at around age 15 or 16 because I was in competitions and I just found that to be, I always loved dancing, but I only really loved it when I was doing it alone in my room. And I just was it was just always my therapy. And to me, going and doing it competitively it was nice. It wasn't my jam. So I kind of left it. And then I fell back in love with dance when I started teaching. Cause I was like, oh my gosh, this is just about freedom. And this is just different. About it's so different. Yeah. It's not about being good.
Nicole, what about you?
So I've taught a little bit of everything over the years, like boot camp style classes, HIIT training, strength training. I taught at a studio in Boston for 6 years. That is Legree Fitness. It's done on Megaformer machines, kind of loosely based on the Pilates reformer.
Yep.
And then in the last year and a half, I've kind of moved in more of a traditional Pilates direction. So I went and got certified in mat Pilates. So I teach a variety, but it's Pilates, strength training, interval training mostly.
Mm-hmm. And have you always been a worker outer your whole life?
Well, I've always been active. I played sports and I did dance. I'm not comparing myself
not
to Melody.
competitively.
I'm talking tap dance after school on Fridays. And then in college, I kind of started working out, but I didn't really know what I was doing. And then I fell in love with this Zumba class at my college that they kind of went rogue and they did all popular songs from the early 2000s. That's when I was in college. And that's what kind of made me really start to love group fitness. So then I worked out regularly from there.
Fun. Yeah. I was a ballet dancer and I wouldn't say that I danced competitively, but it was very competitive. And I feel like exercise or I did tennis as well. I've always done little athletic things until I guess high school. I stopped and then never started again. Because there was something always really tied to looks with athletics or with dance or whatever that it started to not become fun. My first introduction to Pilates actually is really bad because I had a dance coach, a ballet coach that was you have to lose a certain amount of weight. You have to increase the hours that you're doing ballet, and you also need to do Pilates because your back is crooked. There's something wrong with you. So I stayed away from Pilates for a really long time because I was oh, this just has a memory of me being defunct, Does that resonate with either of you?
Yeah. So with regard to, I think the reason why I've consistently still enjoyed working out regularly is because, and it's been a process over the years, but what I really love about it is from a functional standpoint of the body. So I'm not doing it motivated for aesthetic reasons. And granted, I'm also I nerd out about the human body. So that's why I really like that stuff. But and that's why I actually got into Pilates is because I found that from a functional standpoint, it can be such a great way to support your body doing other activities. If you're,
it's cross training.
If you're it's great for injury prevention, so many different things, but a lot of people if you do have that association with working out with, if your only motivation or the reason you're being told to do something is tied to aesthetics and how your body looks, it's either going to be it's going to be an unhealthy
sometimes.
relationship with it, or it's just not something that you're going to want to do for a prolonged period of time.
Especially if you're like doing it in a type of setting where like there's a mirror, you know, like dance class can be so fun, or it can be like horrifying if you're looking at what you look like, it like seeing like how your flabs move, or even if like your face gets too red, like.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to say the same thing. Like I did dance competitively, but it wasn't even that serious. But for me, I feel like I just have always, when I think about fitness and why, I never thought I would end up in the fitness industry, but I have a weird stigma with like Pilates and bar class. And now I'm over it. But when I went to my first bar class, the main feeling that I felt, and I think it's the reason why I started my company, but I felt like everybody in there was taking themselves so seriously that I was like, yo, aren't we here to like loosen up? Aren't we literally here to shake out the tension? And everybody in here is just super tense. Like I specifically remember the woman was so tense herself. The instructor was like, okay, so is everybody ready? You know, everybody.
Was it like an exhale class?
Well,
like
then she was
fusion?
like, yeah, it was some bar class, which I'm not hating on bar. I actually love bar, but this instructor was just not, she wasn't promoting any kind of like comfortability with the class. And she was like, is anybody pregnant? And I think I made a joke because I was trying to make friends through being, I guess, mediocre and funny. I was trying to make a stupid joke and I was like, oh, I hope not. And everybody was like, oh, she talked. And I was like, dang, what's the deal? Like I feel the same, like what Nicole was saying, like when you're so focused on the results, or you're so focused on how many calories you're burning, you miss the biggest benefit of fitness, which is just a stress relief. It just makes you happier. Like, and I'm sure Nicole can talk on about that too, is like, that's the main thing that people miss. It's like, this is actually going to make me feel free and happy.
Endorphins. Yeah. And then I won't kill my husband. No, I was going to say my first reaction to a bar class. Okay, so I lied in the beginning. I have had little intervals where I've worked out like really hard for like a month or something. Like I'll get addicted to a certain type of exercise because I'll be like, this is the month I'm going to be skinny. But it never becomes like a lifestyle change. So there was like a month that I did bar, and I just remember walking in and being like, oh, wait, this is ugly ballet. Like this is like, they take themselves so seriously, but like it's not even pretty. But Nicole, you said you like to nerd out on bodies. Is that what you majored in school?
No,
Okay.
I changed my major every 5 seconds in college. I kind of did things backwards getting into the fitness industry. I started just like blogging and kind of sharing stuff as a fitness
Pumps and
enthusiast.
iron.
Yeah, back when I also thought I was like a fashion blogger too.
It was amazing.
But so I like was sharing stuff as an enthusiast, and then I was like, I should really be educated in this if I'm going to teach it. So then I got like my personal trainer cert and went that way. But I love, like, it's really like, especially working one-on-one with someone, it really is kind of like a puzzle. So like if someone's having pain in, you know, their hip, for example, then it's like, all right, well, where is the problem stemming from? And you look at like their spine alignment, their feet. And so I like that aspect of it.
Of like knowing why something else is going on because of another part. Yeah, we've had stuff like that it's like, oh, if you have ED, it's not just because like you're not horny. It's probably because you have like a heart condition.
Yeah. The human body's fascinating.
It's very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure a lot of people work out like I do, where it's like little spurts of something. You get obsessed with something and you like burn yourself out sometime. Like I remember I had a spin phase where I would like wake up at like 5 a.m. to go spinning and like burn all these calories or whatever. And I remember somebody saying to me, spinning's actually really bad for you because if you work out a ton, then the second you stop, you're going to get very, very, very fat. Is that a thing? What are the perils of over-exercising? How do you find a happy medium?
I mean, I think your body definitely plateaus when you do the same thing, but you have to do it longer than a month. Like for me, I feel like now I've been teaching for over 5 years, and in order for my body to feel sore, I have to kind of trick the body and muscle confusion. So that's a thing. But I feel like the fitness industry is also saturated with like, this is a great thing to do. No, but this is actually a bad thing to do now. And so, I mean, I'm probably less knowledgeable than Nicole in regards to like the actual, how your body actually works. Cause I feel like I'm more focused on the psychology and like the emotionality to working out of just like, especially for women, like we forget we're not on a 24-hour cycle. We're on a 28-day cycle. So like I tell my students like, hey, if you feel like you don't need to go hard today, like that's what your body may need. Yeah. And we have to be better at just understanding and listening to ourselves and and I need to be better too, but like listening less to strangers online and listening more to like what your body is telling you can be a really empowering thing to do.
Yeah. Like even if somebody's like, you should push through the soreness or whatever, like sometimes you should be like, I don't know, maybe not for me.
Yeah. And that's definitely why I think people resonated more because there's a lot of dance fitness. So there's a lot of classes that you can take. And I think they liked my sarcasm and my kind of candor that I would bring. Cause I would be like, hey, like, did anybody else have a really shitty day today? And people would be like, yeah, I did. Like, I didn't know I could talk about that. Yeah. I didn't know I could talk about that in a fitness class. And it's like, no, let's celebrate that. Like, let's celebrate the darkness too. Like who else is anxious and depressed? Oh, a lot of you? Cool. Like this actually makes us more alike. And this should be something that we talk about and then let's celebrate it. And we'll actually get a better workout. You're going to connect with more people.
Yeah. So normalize sad people dancing.
We all do it.
Right? Like half of TikTok is crying and the other half is dancing. And then there's a third part that doesn't add up mathematically, but it's crying and dancing. Normalize it. I do like that though, sad people admitting that they're sad and then dancing because like, yeah, sometimes depression looks like being in bed, but also like we could cry in public and then dance.
Yeah. And there's just this toxic positivity that always exists of like, well, if you're sad and you admit you're sad, you're just not grinding hard enough. You're just not going hard enough and you're victimizing yourself. And it's like, well, why can't they both exist? Like, why can't I show up to this workout, admit that it's not my day, and then still work out?
But then be like, at least I got here and like celebrate the small win.
Exactly.
And often you'll feel better after you do the workout.
Yeah.
But then also there are days when it's okay to not work out. Like you were saying, being able to listen to your body is so important. And that's why I like a variety of type of workouts because, maybe what's best for your body in that day isn't some like super intense, push as hard as you can workout. Maybe it's something that's way more chill.
Yeah, maybe you don't want a cardio, but yoga might be very restorative and nice.
Yes.
Or something like that. Yeah. And also it's like the giving yourself, like not being so hard on yourself for like, oh, I didn't work out 7 days in a row, or I didn't work out the 5 days that I said I was going to. It's like, I'm very black and white with that stuff. Like exercise and dieting usually go hand in hand, where it's either like super, super healthy, exercising or whatever, but then like you slip up and you miss a day or you eat cake or whatever it is. And then instead of just being like, okay, yeah, my body needed to do that day, or like I was hungry that day, being like, I'm a fucking loser, it's over. Like it doesn't have to be so black and white.
Yeah,
totally. And when you're kind of swinging between those extremes, it's like, it's hard to stop the pendulum. It's like, and the more you can kind of find moderation in that in between. I know in college, I was like that with eating. It was either super restrictive. And then if one thing was off from what I had planned to eat that day, then I would just like swing the complete opposite direction and eat everything in sight. And the more I was able to, like, the less I restricted, the less I was swinging this way. And it's like, I gradually got to kind of come to a moderation.
Yeah.
And I think the same goes with fitness and working out.
There was a nutritionist who, she was like, sometimes you don't have to like cut out stuff. You could just add the healthy stuff to what you're already eating, because like, there's no way I'm going to have a happy day if I just have lettuce. or if I just have spinach. But if I add spinach to a pasta that I was already eating, then I'm going to get the nutrients of that spinach and pasta.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just adding veggies. And also, there's so much about your mind and gut connection. Like you feel like crap because you ate unhealthy. Well, what if you had another person who's eating like crap and they're like, it's okay. I think about how probably we were when we were like 17 or 18. Like I was eating Wendy's like all the time and I just never even thought about it. And obviously it's a different time, but even now, if you have that mindset of like, whatever, my body is going to metabolize this and it's fine. It's fine. Your body is not going to get stressed out as much as if you're like, I'm a piece of shit. I can't believe I ate that.
Yeah.
Your body hears that and your body's like, oh no, we're all pieces of shit in here. So
yeah, you actually could have done
sense.
better that day, but because you were so mean to yourself, your body feels worse.
Yeah, I've definitely felt that before. Like the worse I am to myself inside, like my inner critic, I just feel that my whole body is like, we're sad.
Yeah.
Be nicer.
Yeah. Are there any foods that people should be adding specifically if they're going to start working out more?
Well, I'm not a nutritionist, and
Yeah,
so
I
I won't like go into specifics, but I would just say that to listen to your body, because I know with increased activity, your appetite often does increase. And so you want to make sure that you're not countering an increase in activity with restriction.
I would just say, I mean, pretty simple for me. Like, just if you can make your food, I don't even care what you're making. I think that when you end up cooking your own food, it's always going to be healthier than just constantly eating out. And I've always felt that way. Like even when I make like mac and cheese at home, somehow it's like that's going to make me feel less sick than when I go to a restaurant sometimes, like going out to eat. But I would just say adding veggies, like what you were saying, like if you can make your meals and just like add veggies to it, I feel like that can never hurt you. But I'm not really into like restricting so much.
Yeah. No, because then there becomes like a negative connotation with the vegetables. Like if you just have them alone and you're like, no, this just reminds me of dieting and being sad and feeling restricted. Like there are certain, I used to do cleanses too. Like I'm sure everybody's done a cleanse or two because we grew up in a time where that was like,
oh, juice cleanses were so trendy.
Yeah. And I can't smell certain things without being like, oh, no, that reminds me of a 10-day period I was starving. You know?
Everybody's so different, man. Like everybody's different. Some people do the best with, with eating meat. Some people do the best with not eating meat. You know, we don't have to like live in this world where it's like, there's this one thing. It's like, just like what Nicole said, like listening to your body when it comes to fitness and nutrition. Well, if eggs make you feel like crap, maybe take them out, see how you feel, see if you feel better. But everybody is so different. I mean,
yeah. Do you guys usually eat before you work out or after? Or like, is there like
honestly, I don't, there's no structure to eating with workouts for me.
Okay.
I feel the same way as Nicole, and I'm here thinking like Remy probably thinks that we were going to have better answers for that, but I feel the
I'm
same
glad
way,
that you don't, because it's like, okay, cool. It doesn't have to be that deep.
Well, and I think because I, back in the day, did have a really unhealthy relationship with food, I found for me personally, and again, everyone's different, counting macros works for some people. This works for some people. That's great. For me, I feel like what is like ultimate freedom for me is not obsessing over those things. It's almost like I spent so many years like micromanaging what I was eating, observing what other people were eating, that the less I like almost burnt out with it. Like it was so exhausting and all consuming that now like it is freedom for me to just not think about that.
Totally. Yeah. I haven't counted calories in a very long time, and I'm very proud of that. But the reason I asked about food and like when you eat is because it is one of the things that keeps me back from working out. Sometimes I'll be like, oh, I can't work out, I just ate. Or like, oh, I can't work out, I haven't eaten yet, you know? And so I have to figure out how to not let myself out of it.
Yeah. You just need to figure out like what it can change. You know what I mean? Like even what if you just didn't even have this, like, I need to start this like new thing. I think that's the biggest thing that I'm working on too, is like, we all have this idea that like tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. I'm going to go on a jog. Then I'm going to be so organized with work. And then
you have like the self-improvement montage in your head. You're like, this is going to be so great.
It's like a whole different person. Whereas what if we just like did 1% differently every day and like, and it might change. Yeah. Just add it in to what you're doing and make sure it goes with what you're feeling. And I feel like it won't feel like such a chore if you're like, okay, no, well, I'm just going to go on a really long walk today.
Yeah.
And I know that that's going to be pleasing for me.
Yeah. Ben's dad took us on a walk yesterday around a campus that he used to work at. And he gave us like a little tour. And it was so cute. Aww. And we got exercise and a tour.
Walking is super underrated.
It really is. That's another
It's
thing
a great
is like,
workout.
I used to kind of discount how much I walked in New York. And like, you walk everywhere.
Yeah.
And like, that's another thing is like, give yourself a little pat on the back for the stuff that you are doing, even if you're not wearing like exercise clothes while you're doing it. Like if you're walking, you're walking.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Compared to like anywhere in Texas, like wasn't there a study that came out where it said New Yorkers are really happy?
I've
I know
never heard
sounds,
that.
I know. It sounds like the opposite. I have a lot of best friends in New York and they would be like, that's not true. But I really do think that your lifestyle of walking as much as you do every day, that's got to bring some kind of joy. Like instead of the highways and just driving constantly.
Totally. Our bodies were meant to move. We feel better when we're moving our bodies, but it doesn't have to be a specific type, like, the way certain workouts and classes and stuff are marketed. It's, I think a lot of us think like, oh, this is the best workout, but there really isn't a best workout. It's whatever you enjoy doing. And that could be hiking, walking, like, so don't discount like long walks.
Yeah.
That's your body wants to move.
Yeah. And some people are class people and some people are like in-person class people and some people are at home class people. Like I really enjoyed this year because of the availability of like online workouts. Like I know that they've always been available, but it kind of became more acceptable. Did you guys like the transition?
Well, so my business was, I never rented out a studio. I never had a studio. I always wanted to be like a mobile brand. So I used to rent out like concert venues that were not being used on like Saturday mornings and Monday evenings. So it'd be like 80 to 100 people dancing in this, what looks like just a dark bar. Yeah. And it was so fun because nobody's watching. There's no mirrors to make you feel like crap. And we're all just like dancing like crazy. And it's all different types of people. And so that it was sad. It was really sad to have to stop that. I had to put an end to that. But I was lucky that I already had a website subscription in place. I just didn't really put any energy into it. I just like had videos on there. But I will say that I've had a lot of people say what you were saying, Remy, like they have lived in Austin and they always wanted to go to my classes, but they were always too intimidated. And they're like, I'm so happy that I could just do it from my own living room
you can
by
press
myself.
Mute and fart. Like
exactly.
It's the best thing about an online at-home workout. You can turn your camera off and your sound. It's like you're not even there.
Oh yeah.
Nicole, did you like it?
From like I did because my YouTube channel did great with the pandemic. Like people were forced to actually do my classes. So that was great. From like someone who from like a me as a client perspective though, I miss going to classes just because that was kind of like a social activity for me because I do work from home. So I miss that aspect of it. But from a teaching standpoint, it's been pretty good for me.
I mean, from an introvert standpoint, actually, it depends on the day because sometimes you want to go to class and you stick around and you make friends with people or whatever. But some people like you don't, some days you don't want to be perceived. And so I do think that's like a cool way you can mix up your workouts too now is like when things start opening up again, like you can go to a melody rave dance concert, or if you're feeling like super insecure that day and you don't want anybody to see your gigantic arms, Remy, stop mentioning your arms. Nobody notices your arms. But yeah, you could just stay home and still do it and not do it.
Right. And
I definitely miss the social aspect for sure. Like just seeing people, like,
yeah,
I don't remember what that's like.
I know.
I was going to ask you because like I have watched you kind of like grow over the years and stuff. And I was wondering from someone, we come from a similar friend group or whatever, where like personally, when I started posting comedy stuff, I became insecure about it because of like our friends and like the male gaze and like, what does this mean about me if I make this my career? And like, I remember when you were starting out, I was like, I wonder if Nicole is insecure about this stuff because like, did you ever take into account other people who weren't your fan base? And has that ever tripped you up?
100%. When I first started this, it was like a little secret hobby, and I didn't want anyone to know that I had this blog and I was putting together this stuff. And then I remember I still had like a real office job then. One of my coworkers saw something that I posted get shared on Pinterest, and I was mortified. So yeah, I used to be super self-conscious.
Like that's so exciting, but it's like, yeah.
It's because, I feel like it's because some people aren't, I definitely got those comments like, oh, so what are you doing? Like your little dance stuff?
Yeah. Your little business.
Like yeah, exactly. And they kind of talk down to you. But the thing is like, we're insecure about it because they make us feel like that. But it's because it's usually from people who are not going to challenge themselves to do something that excites them. That's my interpretation. Now I feel like I'm sure Nicole, those same people would probably look at you and be like, wait, how did you start that? Same with you.
Oh yeah. Like, no, I had people who used to be like,
oh, so you're really in that little comedy thing. And now they're like, oh, I'm so jealous that you're doing what you blah.
Yeah. They shut up once you're successful.
Yeah.
Or they go from like, why are you doing that to like, oh, how did you do that?
Yeah.
Like, how did you get started? And you're like, whoa, I just fucking did it. Aside from you haters.
And I also think a lot of the negativity is like in our heads. Like there's probably not as many people being like, oh, this is like so lame than as we think.
I think there also though is something to hating on female fitness influencers because it is such a female driven business and because a lot of it has to do with looks. Like a lot of people aren't just coming in to work out to feel better. Like they are coming in because they kind of want to snap into being attractive to somebody else. And I think that perspective, it's super misogynistic, but like it lends people to like hating a little more. And it's like, fuck you. Like you're making people like feel strong and feel good at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's definitely sexualized for sure.
It's super sexualized. That's another thing about going to the gym is like all exercise wear, like it's made to work out, but also like it's good to look at. You know, yoga pants aren't not nice for people to look at.
Right. I know, like from a YouTube perspective, it can be frustrating because a lot of the videos and maybe they're great workouts, but like the thumbnail is, it's just like a zoomed in picture of the girl's boobs or her ass. And it's like nothing about
abs
the
in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Nothing about the actual workout. And the title is like flat abs, like burn your saddlebags, like all these bullshit clickbait things. And it's like, oh, that's fitness and working out can be such a great thing if that bullshit was cut out of it.
Totally.
Yeah, we were talking about targeted workouts like on the We Hate Ourselves episode, and we were like, we're not doing fucking targeted workouts anymore because like your body is your body. Like yes, you can have stronger abs, but you can't make yourself look like a greyhound if you are a bulldog. You might be a thinner bulldog, but like your legs aren't going to grow. Like you have to just focus on liking who you are.
Totally.
And it's sad that like those instructors feel like, okay, I bet you they agree with us. And then I bet you they also turn around and they're like, but this is what is going to get the most views because this is what is getting the most views. But I totally agree. I mean, I think that it's really problematic, and it should be the only target that we should focus on is like, what is this doing to my brain? Is it making me happier? Because if I'm happier, my body, the physicality of my body is going to follow suit. Like, so much of that is connected. And I think people are waking up to it. I feel like in the past few years, people are much more receptive to talking about that within a workout. But when I started, I feel like it wasn't a thing. Like, I feel like I was the one that was like, well, let's celebrate how far you've come in your life. Like, let's make this more about like a mental game. Like, and then just dance. And I don't know. I mean, I feel like people are waking up, but there's still a lot that needs to be changed.
Yeah. And like eventually, like if you are working out to be thinner, if you're working out for your brain, eventually you are probably gonna be thinner. But like that can't be the motivation, because then like I just know my body, like I mentioned, my body type is a mesomorph. So if I work out, I will make muscle like pretty quickly. And sometimes that means weighing more. And sometimes that means expanding and seeing that your pants are getting actually like tighter before they get looser. So like thinking about it from that perspective is going to make you shy away from it more. And like there are 3 body types, right? It's endomorph, ectomorph, and mesomorph. And like that's just who you are. If you're an endo, you're probably going to be a skinny little string bean. If you're an ecto, you're probably going to put on pounds easier. If you're a meso, you're going to gain and lose weight and fluctuate hard. And I used to get so mad at fluctuating. And now it's just like, okay, if you can just accept that one day you go up, that means another day you'll go down, then that just like feels better instead of trying to change who you are.
Yeah.
Genetics play a huge role in it. That's
Huge.
why, like, if you can get to a place where you're focused on how working out is making you feel, and that's really where you'll get to a point where you enjoy it and you want to do it regularly.
I don't know if Nicole, you felt like this, but I've found it difficult at times to find the right way to say what I want to say, because I feel like what I see on Instagram a lot of times and what gets the most heat is like, are you ready to change? Are you ready to change and transform and create the new you? And every time in my classes, all I say is like, hey, I'm actually trying to bring you back to you. I'm not trying to get you to change who you are in order for you to feel that self-worth. Like, that's within you. And I can't do anything to you to make you feel that. Only you can embrace yourself more. And it's like, I'll be real, like in class, that really resonates with people. In my events, that's why they love him. But online on Instagram, I feel like when I say that message, it's
not
just
working.
Like, it's not the same. Yeah. It's like people on Instagram, they want that quick fix of like, well, damn, if I posted like some sort of transformational picture, then people be like, wait, what are you doing? Wait, you look you know, and it's like, or if I'm not alienating, like it feels like a lot of Instagram workouts or subscription programs, it's very based off of like alienating the person. Like the caption itself, it's like, what are you doing to better yourself today? What podcasts are you listening to? Are you doing this? Are you doing, and my response to that is like, ew, I don't want any of this. Like miss me with that. But then I look at their comments and I'm like, well, dang, they must be doing,
controversy and selling self-hatred sells. Like it literally is. That's the entire beauty industry. It is a lot of the exercise industry. And I love that neither of you subscribe to that. But that's why I think, Nicole, you've had such an honest, gradual climb. Like it wasn't like, oh, you started a fitness blog and then the next day, like you were like the #1 video on YouTube for armband workouts. It was like, you really have been doing this and not like preying on people's self-conscious.
No, because that's what it is. All those like clickbaity things. It's just like preying on people's insecurities. It's terrible.
Yeah.
I just try to focus on, I really like the teaching aspect of it. So just like explaining why we're doing this as it relates to like the function of your body and stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it can be frustrating because it does seem, it feels like, especially on social media, it's like to be successful, you have to do these like bullshit tactics.
It's interesting that you were talking about transformation, like the before and after photos, because that used to be all of my search page, because my Instagram knows that like that's what is going to make my brain go, you're not doing enough. Like you're not good enough. And that's what's going to lead to those certain workouts. But like that doesn't lead to a lifestyle change. A lifestyle change is like what you guys are saying, like mix up your workouts, do Pilates one day if like you're not feeling aligned, or like go for a run if you need to sweat. That's another thing too that stops me is like the idea of working out and sweating. I'm like, I'm going to have to shower today. Not necessarily. Not if it's just like a long ass walk. Do you guys shower every time after you work out?
No.
Great.
No. A body rinse maybe, but I wash my hair like twice a week.
Oh yeah. This is like, I wash my teeth. I wash my teeth once a day. I wash my hair once every 2 weeks. Seriously, like quarantine. Thank you, quarantine, for that though. That's nice.
But like your hair looks fantastic. You guys, if you're not on Patreon, you can't tell, but like this once a week thing is working.
It's actually, it does help my dry hair thrive. I can't talk today.
I know. But, none of us can.
I can't. But I do feel like I posted one thing on my Instagram one time talking about how before and after pics can be problematic for some people, right? Mm-hmm. It can also be a celebration of how far you've come.
Super
and I don't want to don't want to discount that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I do see both sides of it. I just think that Instagram is so much of that.
Yeah.
And so little of the other thing. That's just my only observation.
It doesn't emphasize the happiness of it. It emphasizes like how good the body looks. Whereas like there's this guy on TikTok who's lost a lot of weight, like 200 pounds or so. You know who I'm talking about, Rob? Yeah. And like he'll like pop up and like be like, oh, my boss said like I looked great today, and he'll show like a picture of like his old shirt that he used to fit into, and then he'll just be like, ee, and it shows like the joy of like what he's accomplished, not just like, oh, now my body looks better because it's like more stomachable to other people, or like it's more attractive to other people.
Yeah. And most of those people posting those before and after pictures, we just don't probably see that, but that's how they feel. And I feel like I do see more people saying like, what you don't see is that I am happier and I feel more confident. So it's good. Like I said, I definitely think that it is moving in the right direction, but it's just more also like as a fitness instructor or being in the industry, like you just have to pick like my voice is not to challenge people to lose weight. I don't even talk about weight loss. I don't talk about calories. Like I don't talk about any of that because my passion is in getting people to just go batshit crazy and dance with me. That's all I care about. So I almost don't even identify as much with like the fitness industry at all. Cause I just am like, no, I just want you to ugly dance with me. I just want you to like get crazy and weird.
Mm-hmm. It's the serotonin industry. It's different.
Yeah.
We're selling happiness here.
and sadness, sad dancing.
And sad dancing. Yes, this is emotional fitness, which we love to see.
That's definitely what it is.
And so you're in Texas right now. I know you guys have been in crisis. How are you guys doing?
Yes, it's we're recovering. Mm-hmm. It's taken about 3 weeks of people kind of just banding together. And I think that the Austin community, I can't speak for other areas in Texas, but the Austin community, I think we're so happy for the community that we have because a lot of people in the restaurant industry, a lot of people, influencers, bloggers got together and raised so much money. Yeah. And I think there's this weird idea of like, well, we're just people. We're all just volunteering and just trying. Like, what is anybody else doing?
No,
So-
it was really cool to see. I mean, like you saw Ted Cruz leave town, but then you saw all of these people like helping each other out. I remember you told me that like grocery stores were letting people take food for free and items and stuff. And like, I was just like, oh my God, that's so nice. Like, yeah. What's going on with Ted? Are you guys going to kick him out? What's like...
I have no idea what they're going to do.
Sometimes politicians aren't very helpful, but we do like that there are charities we can give to. Are there any that you recommend?
Yes, Austin Mutual Aid. I will send you all that information. They have done a lot in this process. They have really, really been some heroes and a lot of volunteers. So that would be the one for the winter storm relief, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Safe Austin is always a great one as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then there was a women's shelter I shared, and I'll share that link below because I forget the name right now. But
yeah, thank you.
Their whole place was ruined. It was just crazy to see. Like I know it feels like a month ago already, right? But like that shit's still happening. You know, like people's whole houses were ruined. Like snow didn't just go away; it like melted and flooded and destroyed property.
I have some friends who just got their water back like last week.
Wow.
And the crazy thing about it was it started at the beginning of the week. And I swear the energy of the first week was just like, it was like that Belinda, whatever song that's like, ooh, heaven is a place on earth. Because we've never had this kind of snow. And so everybody was just like, ooh. And then the next day it was like, all around me are familiar. It was like such an energy shift that was like, oh my gosh, what started out to be like a winter wonderland was like crazy bad.
Mm-hmm.
It was scary.
You guys, you can tell Melody's got really good bangers for her dance classes.
Seriously.
Like this is vibes.
I did a warm up to Mr. Brightside because it was just stuck in my head all day. And everybody was like, okay.
Yes.
Okay, let's do it.
Who knew that's what we needed? No, there are so many mashups on TikTok that I'm like, oh my God, I have to send this to like a workout person to like the Fortnite song, Rob.
I find like all new music on TikTok.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just straight vibes. So where are you guys teaching now online? Because I would love for some of our listeners to get involved, and I would love to get involved and hold myself a little accountable to this endorphin serotonin party.
I share workout classes on YouTube. My channel's just my name, Nicole Pearce. And then I also have a Patreon where you can get additional workout classes. And then I provide like a monthly calendar if you want like a little guidance structuring the weeks. And there's a good variety of classes on there, but just harkening back to our old conversation, I would not be offended if you try my classes, Remy, and it's not the right movement for you. You got to find what works for you and what you enjoy.
That makes me want to take class from you.
Yeah, it does.
Really? It does.
It does.
It makes a difference.
Because there are some teachers that'll be like, you have to come back. Where are you? Where are you? And that's like the same with like a therapist that is like, where are you? It's like, well, I don't want to come back if you're.
Yeah. And different teachers will like, people will like different types of teachers and different styles. And it's just, I don't know. I don't take it personally if someone doesn't like my classes.
And sometimes they do like it, but then they're just not ready.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you go away for a long time and then you come back eventually.
Yeah. Right.
Melody, where can we do your stuff online?
So I have a website. It's melodydancefit.com. And that is where you can get a subscription. And I do weekly live streams, and it's also an on-demand library of videos of other classes. And then they have some tutorials, but I'm also on YouTube. I'm going to be more active on YouTube, but yeah, YouTube, if you want to get your feet wet for free. And then if you like it, you can subscribe to my website. And it's fun because our live streams, it's not like a Zoom. It's just me on screen, but then there's a chat section. And so it's kind of turned into a really nice supportive community. Like we start every class with just saying what you're proud of yourself about. And so it makes it kind of more just like the celebration of whatever. Sometimes people are like,
awesome.
Yeah. Sometimes people are like, I'm just happy that I that I made it out of bed today. And we're like, yeah, good job, Shelly. You should be proud of that.
Honestly, some of the stuff you get out of a workout class sometimes isn't even the workout. It's like the inspiring stuff that the instructor has said or somebody else said. I'll never forget. Shout out to Alexa Silvaggio. I used to go to her yoga class all the time in one of my little kicks. And she walked around the room one time and she would go, compare and despair, my friends. Like, stop looking around and wondering what like other people are doing, how they're doing better. It's just like, compare yourself to you if you have to compare yourself to anything.
I love that.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
That's so good.
I'm going to hit her up again. Well, before we finish, I think we should talk about finishing a little bit, because not only exercise makes you happy and gives you serotonin and is good for your body. Orgasms are so good too. Are either of you comfortable telling your first time story?
Sure, I will.
Okay, Nicole, tell me about the first time you ever had an orgasm.
The actual orgasm isn't that notable, but it's just
Okay.
more like the scene, the scenario.
Set the scene.
It's like very early 2000s, probably like 2004.
Okay.
My high school boyfriend had moved his bedroom into the basement, but this wasn't like a finished basement. So, picture you're going down the basement stairs. There's the washer, dryer, or like gardening tools hanging. And then in the corner, he has like a futon set up.
Amazing.
with ample black lights, of course,
Of
that he
course.
probably bought from like Spencer Gifts. and then a mirror that he had hung on the wall so that it's hidden when the futon is a couch. But then when you fold the futon into a bed, there's a mirror right along. Yeah.
Horny.
So like real vibey, real early 2000s. And then that's really the most
Mr. Brightside
memorable
was
part of
playing.
probably.
No.
And then it was from fingering. It wasn't even from sex, but that's the first time I remember having an orgasm.
That's amazing. I love the
That's
vibes.
great.
And yeah, I feel like typically most people aren't coming from sex for the first time.
Yeah, I'd imagine not.
I made out with somebody to Mr. Brightside once in 2004. He's married now.
Hot.
If you want to hear the extra tea and you want to see how great Melody's hair looks and you want to see Nicole's plant, go to patreon.com/howcome. But again, we all have free content out here already there for you to help yourself. Nicole, where again can everybody find you on the internet?
On Instagram and on YouTube, just my name, Nicole Pearce, Pearce.
Perfect. And Melody Afkami, what about you?
Same. On Instagram, it's Melody_DanceFit. And on YouTube, it's Melody DanceFit.
You want to know something crazy too? Is Sarah Afkami, who you guys know and love, posted one of your workout videos, and I didn't even realize that you guys were siblings. I just was like, oh no, she looks great. Like, this looks like a really fun class. And I followed you for
that's
that.
awesome.
Yeah. Fun.
That's such a cool story.
Yeah, you guys, this has been so much fun. I do have to ask you, because I have to ask everybody after a sexual experience, and this was, I guess, a little sexual. Nicole Pearce, did you finish?
I definitely finished.
Amazing. Melody Afkami, did you finish?
Twice.
Unreal. You guys, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Yes,
course.
thanks, Remy.
And yeah, follow us at How Come Podcast, and we will see you next time on How Come. Goodbye.
Bye.
It's not you, it's me. I try so hard to finish honestly. They say you'll know when you go all the way from A right down to O. Oh no, I think that I still got a ways to go. Oh, I'm sick of this and I have got to know. How come? How come? How come I can't achieve? How come I can't achieve? I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm rolling up my sleeves. Oh baby, I believe these guests can help. 'Cause I can't do it by myself. I wanna jizz